welcome to Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. Today's chat is with Dylan Kemp. When I got in touch with Dylan, he was just about to leave Melbourne for Queensland, where he's relocated to open a new venue in Kings Beach. We resolved to chat once he was settled, and I was impressed when he got in touch just a couple of days after arriving to make a time with me. This was one of those conversations where I was absolutely hanging off Dylan's every word. Dylan's understanding, appreciation and connection to food and cooking started from a young age when he would forage, hunt and cook over fire with his family in the North Island of New Zealand. He learned the ropes in New Zealand before crossing the ditch to continue his chef trajectory, working at the likes of Dunkeld's Royal Mail and picking up the 2019 Australian Hotels Association Victoria Chef of the Year Award, as well as becoming one of the executive chefs overseeing hospo giant Australian venue company's many venues. You are in for such a treat with this podcast because Dylan's love of becoming a chef comes through every word, and the way he articulates that passion is why I love talking to chefs.
Hello, Dylan speaking.
Hi Dylan, it's Jo Ritty here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for talking to me.
That's okay, no problem at all.
Dylan, can you tell me where you are now? Because you've just recently moved away from Melbourne.
I've just relocated to Queensland for ABC to start doing what we call brownfield. So all of our venues that are in renovation, taking them on and doing the new concepts, working with the marketing team, new menus, kitchens, design, and doing the relaunches and making sure that we execute them properly.
Mm. And so whereabouts in Queensland is that?
I'm in Kings Beach at the moment, so just down 20 minutes from Mooloolaba.
Okay.
Launching the Kings Beach Tavern just off the waterfront.
Okay, beautiful. So I imagine it is quite beautiful where you are.
Stunning. Really, really nice.
And the weather's probably a lot better than it is in Melbourne.
I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock to 23 degrees.
Wow. So now you're talking, it's the Australian venue company that's the company you work for, is that right?
Yes.
So I looked them up online and it seems like I couldn't quite get the gist of what it is. So the whole company has venues in different places, or it is just about setting up places, or what actually is that?
No, so we've got venues all over, including in New Zealand and Australia, and in most states. Majority of ours being in Queensland when we brought Coles, or the Spirit Hotel Group, and yeah, so they acquire new venues. I believe we're about 180 venues or so at the moment, and growing. Wow.
And your role within that, is that, what is your role within that?
Executive chef.
Executive chef. So One, I was going to say, because you wouldn't be looking after the 180 venues.
No, there's two of us in Queensland, two in Victoria, and a couple of others dotted over.
Yeah, so when you go and set up a new place, do you stay there and cook for a while as well?
Exactly, just to make sure that the team's trained properly, making sure that there's quality and consistency, and obviously backing a new brand, and making sure that it's executed to what we want it to be.
Mm. And were you saying the one that you're setting up now is sort of a pub style venue? Exactly,
definitely, an old school pub tavern, and we're just trying to bring the food up a little bit, but obviously with all your pub classics, with a little bit of a tweak, I suppose. Mm. Trying to freshen them up, talking about local ingredients and fresher produce, I suppose.
Mm. And as a chef, when you move around different places and in different states or countries or whatever, how do you go about working out about the local produce and suppliers and what's the best thing to use?
I love the markets are probably the best place to get a grasp of where you are. Obviously, at the moment, I'm in the tropics, so the fruit and veg is incredible. So markets are where I kind of head to start with, and then obviously working closely with the local suppliers and getting on the ground and talking to them and having that close contact.
I always imagine that
Exactly, but also we also understand that what people perceive as a pub classic, we don't want to differ too far from the original truth of what those dishes are. So there is a fine line and a slow progression when it comes to updating these menus in these smaller coastal towns.
Yeah, that's very true. I spoke to a chef in the city who took over a venue that had been a really popular venue, an Italian restaurant. It was the Hardware Club, and when he took it over, he was really aware of the existing clientele that he wanted to keep coming there. And so, yeah, that's an interesting idea. That slow progression.
I just think it's a better way to do it and to get the feel for what the community is doing, because obviously that local clientele is the bulk of our business, even though we do have a lot of travellers. So making sure that what we're doing is also what the community is looking for in their local tavern.
Absolutely. And Dylan, I was reading through some of the places you've been at, so the Royal Mail and Duchess and State of Grace. They're all really great places, and the way that people write about you and describe you as a top chef and so on, it's lovely to read things like that. So I don't know what it feels for you to read things about yourself being described as a top chef. Is that a good thing for you?
I love it. I love the recognition. I love my job and have since I've started. In fact, I've probably fallen more in love with it as my career has moved on. Wow. And so getting the recognition for the hard work is great. And for getting that recognition for something that you love is even better, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. And when did it all start for you? Because obviously I can hear your New Zealand accent, which is the same as mine. So I'm enjoying that. Did you? Where did it all start for you?
I was born in New Plymouth, so North Island, West Coast. I always had a passion for cooking, learning to cook from my mother, who's phenomenal in the kitchen, and from my nana, who has more of the backcountry hut style cooking, I suppose. So I got two sides of the coin: how to cook on an open fire and how to do salubrious dinners at home. And with that, my father is a big hunter. So I learned a lot about the paddock to plate style. So I wrapped all of those things together and started chefing when I was 15.
Wow.
And I never looked back. I dropped out of school and went to a polytech and did all my studies and went straight into a fine dining restaurant. And like I say, I never looked back. I got deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah. And what is it? I mean, it sort of seems obvious, I guess, but what is it about it that do you reckon that you really love?
I love the fact that no day is the same. And working with new produce and dishes, and my friends always say, do you like cooking for yourself? And I say, I get a lot of pleasure out of cooking for other people. I get satisfaction out of people enjoying a dinner or coming out and having time away. That's the satisfaction I get is people enjoying the food that we cook and the effort that we put into it to get it on the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you do your apprenticeship in New Zealand and then come over here, or how did that work?
I did, yeah. So I got poached before I graduated, and I actually moved from New Plymouth to Taupo, centre of the North Island, and went to work at the Terraces Hotel straight out of my qualification. And then from there I went to the Batch, which was best provincial restaurant in New Zealand. And then from there, I went to Wellington for a little while and worked for a smaller pub group with 7 venues. And then when it was time to come over here, I was 21. And then I went straight to Spices Peak Lodge, Screw Turner's 5-star resort which was very eye-opening for me. I spent 2 years there, and then I kind of hit the Queensland islands, so Hayman Island and Lizard Island, and then back down to Melbourne.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really, it sounds like, you're living in sort of, when you have those kind of jobs, you're living all these sort of exotic places and so on. Do you really get to enjoy them when you're working as a chef, or were you working really big hours?
No, you definitely do, especially with the big places like Hayman Island, which was one and only. You're not working those huge hours, and there's a staff beach and a staff bar, and there was 400 staff on Hayman Island. So we definitely got our fair share of downtime, and you obviously have the Great Barrier Reef and some amazing snorkeling and stuff that you're allowed to enjoy as you were a guest.
And then when you, having been to those places, and then you came to Melbourne after that? Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
And
correct.
And did you go straight to the Royal Mail?
No, so I started working for one of the executive chefs at the company, Justin Wise, at The Point in Albert Park, and I worked there for just over 9 months, and then I left there and went to the Royal Mail. Okay,
right, and so you sort of really obviously worked your way up quite quickly, and still quite young, through to having positions of responsibility. When was your first head chef job?
When I was 20.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And because that's a big deal, and I've spoken to other chefs who, obviously, you love cooking and you're really good at cooking, but there's a lot of other things involved with being a head chef. Was it a challenge for you, or just a really natural progression for you at 20 to become head chef?
I think it was a natural progression, and I don't like being bad at anything. So I just always took it as a challenge to be better at what I was doing. So anything that anyone could throw at me, I just knew that I was going to learn from it and grow from it. And so I never really backed down and never said no, just kept rolling with it, really.
And you've obviously now got a lot of people under you as well, and so you're overseeing a lot of people and probably teaching and training and keeping everyone motivated. What's your style for that? Are you a shower or a teller or a get in alongside? How do you lead your staff?
I think most chefs are the very practical side. Yeah. They need to be shown, and they need to touch it. They need to feel it. They need to and also be shown. And I believe that that's why, in the position that I'm doing now, I'm in the kitchen with the guys every day, all the guys and girls, to teach and train them side by side. And that means running the services and stuff like that, not just showing them something and walking away. And I believe that that's the way that they're learning the most from what we're teaching them, and retaining that knowledge as well.
Absolutely. And I guess too, it gets stressful in the kitchen. It's hot. There's sharp knives. You've got time limits and so on. How do you handle that stress? Have you developed some strategies for that, or is that again just something that's come naturally to you because you love it?
Yeah, people always say, "Oh, I could never be a chef." I've never thought that. I enjoy the stress. I love being able to nail a service and you walk out on such a massive high. The adrenaline's going and the whole team, is dragged through right to the end. And you're sweaty and you're tired, but you're super happy. You've nailed it. And that feeling at the end is why I do it day in, day out.
That's amazing. And just a final question: where do you get your inspiration? You did mention before about the markets, and that's always a good starting place. But are you someone that has cookbooks, or you go online, or you just have built up a repertoire over the years? Where do your ideas come from?
I have all of about 5 cookbooks. My inspiration comes a lot from paddock to plate. I love foraging. I love hunting, I love fishing, and learning from the people that are around me. I've had the pleasure of cooking with Simon Rogan and stuff when I was at the Royal Mail, and they're all big inspirational leaders. But for me, it's in going out and foraging and being able to create something from the land, and that's what the Royal Mail also taught me. that salad doesn't just come in a box. Not everything's an A-grade premium carrot. Ugly Delicious became a thing for me when I was working at the Royal Mail, and seeing greatness in something that others see as B grade.
Yeah, I think that's it's a really great perception of the world, and it totally, I mean, how amazing that you're a chef and that people get to enjoy your food with that kind of from that starting point. I'm a big believer in that. Whoever's cooking the food, that their emotions and their attitude and everything goes into the food. So I think it sounds
100%.
I think it sounds as though Queensland's in good hands.
Hopefully, I've only just got here, so we'll see how we go.
Okay, no pressure, but
exactly. Well, I launch King's Beach next week, so.
Well, all the best for that, Dylan, and thank you so much for taking time out of that, because I know that you've got a really busy schedule. So thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for chatting with me. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, great. Thanks, Dylan. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Bye.
You've been listening to Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to read the full transcript of the conversation, you can go to www.conversationwithachef.com or follow me on Instagram, so you'll always be up to date with the latest conversation.